What are you hiding there, Brian? Welcome to the jungle, everyone. I'm Kyle Phelps, and the NFL is stupid. Before we get to that, I'd just like to ask that you take a quick second to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Leave a comment if you hear anything in the video that you like, or anything that you don't like, or, tell me who your number one team is, or tell me that my face is stupid, or, I don't know, just talk smack in the comments. I don't really care. I just love hearing from all you beautiful people. As always, I will feature the best comments in my next Power Rankings video. But anyway, let's move on to the actual rankings. As always, we focus on the Power Rankings categories more than we actually do about each individual team, because we are covering each individual team, so we don't really have time to go through all the teams. That way, everybody gets to hear something about their team, whether you actually want to or not. We start with Tank Time, which is the teams who might as well just focus on losing games the rest of the season and focusing on draft positioning. Then we go to the bad teams, the teams that aren't going anywhere this year, but maybe they can try to build something for some momentum next year. Then we've got the playoff hunt, which is the teams that are not doing super well right now, but they could turn around, or maybe they are in the process of turning things around right now, and they just haven't really quite hit that stride just yet. Then we got the playoff hopefuls, the teams that should probably be at the tail end of the playoff picture by the end of the season. Then we've got the contenders, which is the teams that I definitely think are going to be in the playoffs by the end of the season and could potentially be poised to make a deep run in the playoffs. And we're going to wrap things up with the Super Bowl caliber teams, which is the teams that right now have me convinced that they are capable of making it to, well, the Super Bowl. Now, don't forget, it is the week-to-week league, so I really try to keep that in mind when I'm making these rankings. Some teams have been seizing power lately, and they're going to feature a little bit higher as a result. Some teams have been experiencing the luck of the Lions lately, and they're going to start moving toward their furry friends in Detroit. Wait, no, not that kind of So we kick things off with Tank Time with the Detroit Lions, same Detroit Lions, who are at number 32, and basically have been at 32 all year. Oh man, the Lions make me sad. They even started out with a great first drive and a touchdown. Jared Goff briefly looked like a real NFL quarterback. But it's the Lions, they find ways to lose these games. At 31, the Jaguars are staying in the basement. I firmly believe that the Atlanta Falcons are better than what their record indicates. But damn, you have to feel bad for Trevor Lawrence. The really sad part is, with the Lions still winless, then that probably means that the number one overall pick is pretty much out of reach at this point. At number 29, it's the Jersey Jets. And shout out to Jordan Link, who caught that in the last episode. Also for the New Jersey Giants. What do you want me to do? Their entire existence is in New Jersey. I guess not this week because they played in Houston. But they came away with a win. The Jets have now officially won more games than they won last year. And I think this officially proves Robert Saleh is a better head coach than Adam Gase, which I think we already knew. I think we already could figure that out. But, this is the official proof that you needed, if you needed it. Finally, rounding off the categories, the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 28. They're way down from 23 last week. And look, I'm not going to lie, guys. After the Bengals absolutely spanked you for the third time in a row, I think maybe it might be time to tear it down to the nubs. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers are too proud of a franchise to ever even fathom being bad for a few years, but I think it might be a better strategy than praying that Ben Roethlisberger's dead, bloated corpse will take you to the Super Bowl! Next up, we've got the bad teams, and we're starting off with the number 27 Seattle Seahawks, who are just a complete mess at this point. I'm not really sure I'm ready to call it tank time just yet, but it's probably time to blow the whole thing up at the end of the season. At number 26, the Atlanta Falcons are 5-6, and I mean, I have to be fair, putting them this low is probably a little disrespectful to the fact that they actually have the same record as the current number 7 team in the playoff race. So they're technically really in the playoff hunt. They're not just bad. But it's hard to give them too much credit when they almost choked against the Jaguars. Next up at 25, the New Jersey Giants move up one spot with a pretty unconvincing win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I mean, the Eagles have been good lately, but that game was not good. Joe Judge threw Jason Garrett under the bus last week, and now I'm just not even sure what we're doing out there in New Jersey. Maybe Joe Judge doesn't want to tank because it's possible he needs to save his job? That said, they're unbelievably only one game behind in the wild card race right now. And they're 3 games behind in the division, so none of it's technically really out of the question. The reason I have them down here is because they're just not playing well. Now the Bears are moving up one spot to 24 because, well, I mean, honestly, just because the Lions have forgotten how to win because it's been so long since they've actually done it, doesn't mean you guys get to actually feel good about barely beating the Lions. Like come on, guys. I knocked the Steelers down a few pegs a few weeks ago for tying the Lions. So, I mean, you guys came this close to doing the same thing, which would have been hilarious, by the way. Like, 15-2. That's what I want to root for. I want the Lions to get another tie. That'd be funny. And then we're going to wrap the category up with the Carolina Panthers at number 23. Bro, 5.4? That was Cam Newton's passer rating against the Miami Dolphins this week. And to be fair, P.J. Walker didn't do much better. So, honestly, I don't even know what the Panthers are doing anymore at this point. Next up, it's the playoff hunt. And we're starting at number 22 with the New Orleans Saints, who are still technically in the running. But I'm not sure how long that's going to last with Trevor Siemian at quarterback and that weird situation going on with Taysom Hill's contract, and I honestly don't understand that whole thing at all. At 21, it's the 5-7 Miami Dolphins, and despite the fact they've been doing well lately, I'm staying on my Tua should request a trade in the offseason train because, despite his recent good form lately, I don't think the Dolphins are going to have what it takes to actually pull off the miracle comeback and make the playoffs. They've already tried to throw him under the bus multiple times, so you tell me what his future looks like there in Miami. I can only imagine that he's got some sort of deep dirt on Brian Flores' sex life. What are you hiding there, Brian? The Broncos are up to 20 now, and they might deserve to be a little bit higher than that because of the way that they've been playing lately. I just want to see consistency, which doesn't really seem to be what they're capable of. Eagles are at 19 because they squandered their opportunity to make the Cowboys sweat. They could have been real close in that division race, but they lost to the damn Giants. I was rooting for you too, but you failed me. Back down you go. You're lucky I didn't put you down there with the Carolina Panthers trash. Speaking of trash, the Cleveland Browns are at 18 this week. Sorry, Thomas. I can't lie, that defense looks pretty good. But Baker Mayfield and that offense look more focused on making sure that the seats stay clean so he can host his dinner parties or that whatever it is that those dumb commercials say. Finally, at 17, it's the motherfucking Washington football team. Where the hell did they come from? They'd be in the playoffs if they started today. Absolutely wild. Next up, it's the playoff hopefuls. Started off by the Minnesota Vikings at number 16. From what the Vikings have shown me this year, I'd imagine that they'll probably put together some erratic enough wins to wrestle away back control of a playoff spot. But, at the same time, maybe not without Dalvin Cook. That one sucks. But at 15, it's the San Francisco 49ers who just beat out those Vikings to pillage and plunder a playoff spot away. Shout out to my fellow Kyle Shanahan. who has his team turned back around and headed straight for the promised land. The Colts are down to 14 this week and technically back out of the playoff picture. They had the Bucs right where they want them, and they let them off the hook. Shout out to Dennis Green. But I'm sure Jonathan Taylor is probably going to make some of their upcoming opponents pay, and they're going to be right back in the playoff picture pretty soon. The Raiders make a big jump to number 13 this week after being thankful for the Cowboys' defense this year. Man, that AFC West is looking tighter than a Karen's butthole. The Chargers are down to 12 this week after losing to the Broncos and losing control of the AFC West. It looked like they were going to run away with it for a while, but I think that would require Justin Herbert playing a lot less like Brett Favre and actually having some damn consistency. Finally, the LA Rams are at 11 after a huge loss to the Packers. They desperately want a rematch of that game because, honestly, I feel like they could beat the Packers if they see them again. Alright, things are getting good now. We're into the contenders, like the Buffalo Bills, who are at number 10. And I really don't get what they've been doing the last few weeks, but I do know that they're explosive. And when Josh Allen and that offense gets into a rhythm, it doesn't go good for the other teams. I would be very careful to write them off just because they've looked less stable than Deadpool lately. I'll give the Ravens a slight boost to number 9 this week because honestly 8-3 is 8-3 no matter how you get there. Now, to be fair, the way they have done it is definitely a bit suspect. How do you throw 4 interceptions and still win? It has to be blood magic, right? The Cowboys are falling to number 8 this week and could pretty soon find themselves out of the top 10 if they're not careful. Now, the Raiders are super talented, sure. But the Cowboys still should have won that game. If you can't win games like that, you're not going to do well in the playoffs. Number 7 is the Tennessee Titans, and they clearly missed Derrick Henry. I told you that was going to happen. And now all they have is the shambling corpse of Adrian Peterson to hopefully try to make them feel better. Number 6, it's the Cincinnati Bengals, who have completely reversed course after that 2-game skid against the Jets and the Browns. Now don't forget, this team is a couple of plays away from being 9-2 or better right now. And did you see what they did to the Steelers? Ouch. Finally, we've got the Super Bowl caliber teams. Starting off at number 5, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who did have a bit of a scare against the Colts this week. But I didn't doubt Tom Brady's ability to carry them to a win. Oh, wait, it was Leonard Fournette? Damn. Alright, I see you, Lenny. At number 4, the Chiefs are down a spot purely due to the logistics of being in the top 5 and them being on a bye week. I mean, truthfully, everything went right for them this week, right? I mean, nothing bad happened internally. The Chargers moved out of their way for control of the AFC West. But, I mean, that's just kind of how things go at this spot. Sorry, Chiefs fans. The Arizona Cardinals are also moving down to 3, despite the fact that they were on a bye week this week. And you know what they say, if you snooze, you lose! But they also did actually lose at one point to the team that took their spot this week, which is the Green Bay Packers at number 2. The Packers absolutely handled business against Matt Stafford the way they've done so many times during his career. Things got a little bit closer at the end, but the result was never really in doubt. And finally, it's the New England Patriots who are staying on top at number 1. They definitely deserve to be there now after knocking off the Titans, and frankly, I don't know how you could argue against it. But, that would be your unfortunate mistake to make, I suppose. Actually, if you do disagree with the assessment, why don't you tell me in the comments? As always, I'll feature the best ones on each video. In this case, the next Power Rankings video. Like this one from Brian Carbony, who thought that the Patriots were overrated this week. The way I see it, it's getting harder and harder to argue against it every single week. But thanks for watching and commenting and interacting and liking and subscribing and all that happy jazz. You can always catch more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/ThePhelps, my Bengals coverage at ATBNetwork.com/Cincinnati Bengals, the Battle of Ohio podcast, which is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, link in the description, and right here if you subscribe. But like I said, I appreciate all of you who watch, and I will leave y'all, as always, with a hootie!